The company behind the 808 number 11 and number 18 keyring cameras got in touch and asked me if I wanted to have a look at their car recorder. Well, of course I said yes, and here it is. The model number is the DR32. They like to call it the 808 number 18 DR32 for brand recognition. It's a full 1080p car recorder. It records in H.264. And it's got a built-in accelerometer. It doesn't have GPS or anything like that. It's quite simple in the way it operates. You can see on the back here it mentions it does 720p 60 frames and 30 as well. And it's got a 127-degree wide-angle lens. Takes cards up to 32 gigabytes in size. And it recommends you use a Class 6 card or higher. So let's have a look inside the box and see what you get. Well, again, the watchword of this review is simplicity, and the contents are simple as well. You get the camera, a lead to plug it into your car, instruction booklet, and a mount, and that's it. Now, the lead is 4 meters in length. It's got the usual 12-volt car power adapter on the end with an LED on it. The other end is a nice USB Mini B lead, the sort of standard one, so you don't have to get anything weird. The instruction booklet, again, very simple, nicely laid out, very clear, understandable, has the information you need, and it's all contained on about 4 pages at the front. This bit is the most interesting bit, I think. It tells you how much you can fit on a memory card, so for those people that want to know, that's your answer. The mount that comes inside the box is the usual suction cup type device. It's got a lever on it here so it suctions to your windscreen. Does hold nice and firm as well. It's got a standard tripod screw on the end of it there, and then these two bits unscrew and allow you to adjust the angle of the camera or move it forward and back towards your windscreen, so you can get it pointed just how you want really. Now here's the camera itself. As you can see, nice and small and neat. There's the lens, of course, speaker above it, tiny microphone to the left of the lens there. On this side we've got an HDMI out port. Remember, I haven't got a leader in the box for that. The memory card is there behind this slidey on-off switch. It's nice that it's got a slider, so at least you know which state your switch is in. Now the memory card I'm using is a 32 gigabyte Class 10 card. As you can see, I pop that in the spring-loaded slot and then slide the on switch across in front of it. This end we've got the standard tripod screw thread there, and that's the power provided by a standard USB Mini B socket. We've got a reset button and an AV out socket on this side. Now across the bottom of the screen you can see there's 5 buttons from left to right. We've got a mode, a kind of play or back button. That red one is for locking videos, I'll show you that later. Then we've got up and down on the right. Now if you notice I switch it on, nothing's happening because the camera itself doesn't have a battery in it to power it from. You'll have to power it either in the car or, as I'm doing now, using a USB lead. The fact it will actually power up from a USB lead means that I can plug that into my car in a splitter and use more than one thing at once in the 12-volt socket, which is nice. Now I'll show you what the different things mean on the screen, and I'll also show you that sort of lock menu, which is the thing with the red button. So first off, it's recording at the top left there. There's a time at the top, microphone to show it's recording sound, and then some icons across the bottom. 1 out of 5 in the middle means that it's got one locked file on the memory card. I've pressed the red button again there. It's now locking the current file, which is a minute in length. So look at the timer at the top left. When it gets to a minute, it will stop locking that file and move on to normal recording. So it's got 2 out of 5 locked files on the card now. You can store 5 locked files on the card before you have to start deleting something that you've locked. Of course, it locks files when you bang into things as well. Now, in the playback menu, we can play back all the files or just the locked ones. So I'll show you what the different settings are in the setup menu, which is the left-hand button. So I'll just press that now. Right, so the top one here, you can have the cycle length of the recordings to 1 minute, which I've got it set to at the moment, or if we press this tick here, we can set it to 5 minutes. So that's it, 1 minute or 5 minutes. Nice and simple. Video resolution 1080p 30, 720p 60 or 720p 30. This whole video is done in 1080p 30, by the way. Voice recording on or off, bump auto lock, that's the shock sensor, low sensitivity, medium or high. You can have the LCD stay on for a minute when it powers up, 5 minutes, or stay on continuously throughout the whole trip. I have it set to a minute, so it goes off pretty quickly. The EV, that's the sort of exposure value, just leave that on 0. The beep, you can have it on or off. Let's turn it on to see what it sounds like. The volume is the volume of the beep, so we'll put it up to 3 to make it as loud as it can possibly go. You can have the date stamp show on your videos or not show. Here's where you set the time and the date. Just pop through here, very simple, back and forth, up and down, just like setting a clock as normal. Language, not many languages. We've got English and then those ones there, and just pop it back to English. TV system, NTSC or PAL, flicker 50 or 60 Hz, format the entire card, reset everything to default, and that's it. So it's a very simple settings menu there. Everything you need, very easily laid out. You can also turn the screen on and off when it's in record mode by pressing the right hand button here, which is useful. There's also a little LED at the bottom that's orange at the moment to show that it's in recording mode, but when I press play it goes green, and that's useful so you can see whether or not the camera's actually recording if you've got the screen turned off. And of course, if I remove the power, it says no power on the screen and shuts down in a controlled manner, saving the current file, which is what would happen if you turned your car engine off. Let's put the power back in again now, because I want to show you a little bit more about that locked file menu, because it might have been a bit confusing. So basically, you're recording files. If you get a shake or a knock, it will save a file in the locked menu there. I've got 2 out of 5 at the moment. If I want to delete any of those, I go into the playback menu, I select locked files, and this is 1 or 2 files here. I can move up and down between them. Press the button on the left. You can change the attribute to either locked or normal. If you select normal, it means when the card is full and it starts rewriting over itself, it'll delete those files rather than saving them. Of course, the idea with these locked files is something exciting happens, you press the lock button, it means you don't lose it if you're going for a massive journey. You shouldn't have more than 5 of those incidents in a journey, and you can always format it when you get home to delete the lot if you want very easily. Right, so let's have a look at the way that it fits on the mount. So I'll just unplug the power lead, because you have to take that out if you want to put it on the mount, because you have to sort of spin it around. Of course, it goes into this tripod hole here like that, and then you tighten up the nut to make sure it's nice and tight against the camera and the camera's not going to spin around. So there you go, that's what it looks like on the mount. Quite a bit bigger once it's got that mount on it. Let's have a look in the car. So here's the camera installed in my car. As you can see, I haven't put it in permanently. This is just for testing, and I've stuck it somewhere in the middle. I don't really know though where I'd actually put it if I was doing it properly, because the mounting system that they use does take up quite a bit of room. You can see the camera's on this little bit at the bottom here. The mount's longer than the camera itself, takes up quite a large area. Of course, you've got to put the suction cup at the top here. I can't put it in this part of my screen because it's got this kind of coating on it. I could put it anywhere up here, but I wouldn't really want the camera down that part of my screen because I'm already blocking my view quite a bit with this pillar, so I wouldn't want to amplify that. Now if I put it all the way over on the passenger side, I don't know if you can see, my windscreen wiper doesn't reach this area here, so that's all mucky. So if I was to put the camera up in that corner, it would be filming through a kind of mucky windscreen, so that's no good either. So I suppose really you want to put it up somewhere behind your rear view mirror, but again, as I say, I've got this stuff in the way which stops me from doing it. I think what a better idea would have been with the mount is to have it as a removable device, so you could just take it off easy, you know, like unclip it or slide it out or something. As it is, of course, it's screwed into this tripod hole at the top here and then suction cup to the screen. So to remove it, you have to remove the whole suction cup device off your screen, then sort of peel it away like that from the top, which is easier said than done one-handed. So what I think they could really have done, which would have been better, is put something in the top here that would just clip onto kind of a GoPro type plastic mount which stays stuck to your windscreen with that 3M double-sided sticky tape stuff. And I don't suppose there's anything to stop you experimenting with that, because they've got a standard tripod size hole on here, so you could just put your own mounting in there if you could find something suitable. Okay, I think we've had enough build up. Let's have a look at the quality of the video produced by the camera. Right, the first thing you should notice is that it's really rather excellent. Now the time and date is at the top right there. You can see it's 7:33 in the morning, so the sun is quite low in the sky, and you can see it pointing into the lens every now and then, but it's no problem for this camera. Everything's nice and clear and bright as I'm driving through the middle of Manchester here. And it's got a nice wide angle. Of course it's a 127-degree wide angle, but it seems to be getting everything in shot. Of course it's got this fisheye effect, but that's perfect because you want to get as much in the camera lens as you possibly can in a car camera. Now just look for the gap between the two clips. As I drive past this white transit van now, it just jumps there. You see a little tiny jump, and that's the gap that you get between the clips. Remember, I've set mine to record in 1 minute clips, and the choices are 1 minute or 5 minute. I just wanted to use 1 minute so I get lots of those kind of joins so I can test out what it looks like. Now, this is me in a car park leaving at the end of the day. Notice it's 5:21 in the evening. I wouldn't work till 7 or something ridiculous like that. I mean, there's television and important things like that to do when you get home. Anyway, this is 5 o'clock in the evening inside a multi-storey car park. As you can see, it's sort of rather dingy in here, but the camera's getting a good, clear, sharp image again, and it's coping with the conditions really rather well. Of course, it would prefer to be outside in nice bright sunlight, but if anything happened in this car park, which is the kind of place that things normally would happen, the camera will get a nice clear image of it. But here we are, we're popping outside now. As you can see, still quite nice and bright. Now, of course, we're at the other end of the day, and the sun's sort of almost going down a little bit. You can see that by the colour of things, but everything's nice and clear here, and you can see exactly what's going on. Now, one thing that people always want to know is, can you read registration numbers? Well, looking at these, I think you probably can do. But more often than not, during an accident, all you really want to capture is who did what and who was in the wrong. Anyway, this is a clip on the motorway. As you can see again, you can see everything that's going on nice and clear. So the camera does a really good job. Now, all the clips I've got are in 1080p. I didn't even try the 720p mode because there wasn't much point. Now, at night time, the results are just as good. As you can see from this scene here, the colours are still present in the scene, but you can also make out all the detail that you would possibly need. You can see the registration numbers and things. The brightness is just right. Everything is how it was shown to the naked eye as I was driving along. Now, you've seen some cameras that can't cope with this stuff at all, especially this scene here, when some cameras that I've tested just render this out as complete blackness, and obviously that's not the case here. Now let's have a listen to the sound.
You've already seen that the video quality is excellent, but the sound quality is just as good as well. There's none of that buzzing and crackling that you get on some of the cheaper car cameras. In fact, the sound quality is so good you can hear things like my indicators. I'll demonstrate that to you now. And that would be useful if you had a crash and somebody said that you weren't indicating, because the video footage would demonstrate that in fact you were.
Now, the only issue that I had with the camera was very slight. It's just during twilight conditions, the brightness hunts up and down looking for the right brightness level. I did mention this to the manufacturer, and they say it's something that they're aware of and they'll look into. They'll probably issue a firmware update. Remember, this comes from the people that make the 808, 11 and 18 keyring cameras, and their devices always have regular firmware updates to keep them up to date. Now, the only other thing that I could possibly think of was the mount isn't my favourite. I don't really like the size of it. But luckily, of course, the camera does have that tripod hole on there. So you could put any mount that you want in there that fits in a tripod hole. And maybe there's some small ones that would be better than the one included in the box. But this is an excellent little car camera. Definitely the best dash cam I've tested in ages, and it's my current recommendation. Current price somewhere around about £60 odd, but check on the links in the description to find out what the latest price is. But for the moment, thanks for watching.